And welcome back to Kirk Plain, folks. Remember, we've been having a discussion on the two trees in the garden. And I want to tell you that, we discussed the first tree. And the information that we need to gather from that is that first tree that Adam and Eve spoke of and ate of set down the range of potential for life on earth. And it can be purely evil or purely good or somewhat evil and somewhat good, or it can be a little bit more evil than good or a little bit more good than evil, and anywhere in between. That's the scale of humanity, is somewhere in the range between good and evil. And it all takes place in the mind and lives its way out through the body in what we call life. So it said that the other tree was the tree of life and that we're cut off from it. And that's kind of true, but kind of not true. Because if you're obedient, you won't eat of the tree of life. But if you're a rebellious person, then you'll immediately go back in and start eating of the tree of life. Because when you're told not to, that's exactly what you do. And that's the proof that Adam and Eve proved. So when you're told not to do something, that's just what you go ahead and do. So, because now we understand that those are just choices that we'll make. We'll either do what's right or what's wrong, good or evil, thing that's negative or positive, and it's all in the choice, and it's all the power is within you to control your choice. And that's tree number 2. How are you going to live? What are the choices you're going to make while you're alive on this planet? Because in these choices there is life and death. At the end is the reward. It's the knowledge of good and evil. How you live out that knowledge is up to you. So, the best idea yet is to know that you don't need a savior. You don't need somebody to save you from sin. The choices are yours from within. You're going to live your life in accordance to your will. You are in the hand of God. You are the author of your own will. Now there's billions upon billions of books that's going to give you some theories, but they're not going to really do you any good, because you're the author of your life. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's what the thumper says. But yet they don't believe it. What they end up saying is, all things work together for the good of those that love God. And they'll take the abuse and be treated however, and fail under that abuse and become weak, when the choice was all theirs to stand, and having done all to stand. So what I'm telling you is, live your life. Live it in power and in strength and in truth and in reality, understanding the eternal all, making your choices along the way. Sometimes there's going to be great choices, sometimes there's not. But you are the determining factor, not God. God has allowed you freedom of choice so that you have the right to choose. Don't get caught up thinking you're just evil and there's no hope. And don't get caught up thinking you're so good that there's nothing to fear. And I'm not saying you should fear anything. But the reality is, life is to be lived. You live it from within on your own rules. Your choices brings your destiny. And when it's over, and it's all boiled down, there'll be a conclusion drawn on one side or the other on whether it was profitable in eternity, whether it was useful for your eternity, and whether you made the cut. And it may not even be on whether you were good or evil. It's probably on the totality of your life. So don't get so focused on evil, sin, or negativity, or judgment that you fail to live your life. That's just the lower end of the scale. Tip the scale the other way. Start being positive and life-giving, doing what's good and right and well, being positive with energy, living the truth rather than the lies. Try to figure out what direction you're going and go in a good one that's good for you and good for all. And just live that life that you know is possible. But it's wide open. Why wouldn't you want to live a great life? I don't think it's necessary to beat yourself up over the good and evil thing anymore. You should already know that. Children are taught that. If they have any parenting at all, they learn good and evil by the time they're 5 and 6 years old. They know what to do and what not to do. And after that, you have a conscience as a teenager. Sure, you might sin against your own conscience. Let's not even use the word sin. You might do wrong. It doesn't mean you have to do wrong every day. Because after you do it a couple of times, the common idea is if you do more than 19 times, you've developed a habit or a pattern. And you may not stop for a long time. So let's not develop any negative patterns or behaviors that could lead us into trouble as teenagers. And then young adults, same thing. You can actually do wrong against yourself and injure yourself and not take care of your body because you're shoving too much drugs and alcohol and sex into it, and it can hurt. It can be a problem. It can be a life habit and pattern that takes you in places that you don't get out of for the next 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. That's why there's crack houses and alcoholic wrecks, and prostitution, and houses and buildings you can flop into to get all that stuff, is because you get addicted to it and it takes your life on a trail of some harsh realities. Eventually they all catch up to you and you've got sexually transmitted diseases, your body starts to fail you, your mind goes off the charts in delusions and manic depressants and just all those things, because you can't do that shit for 5, 10, and 15 years and not suffer some consequence. It's only then can you come clean and get back to a reality where you can start doing some good to your body and your mind again after you get off that stuff. So it's time to take 2020 assessments of yourself, realize where you've been, and decide where you want to go. The only one making excuses or blaming somebody is you, or keeping yourself buried down into some behaviors that have trapped you. Make this a new day and redefine your purpose and your direction, where you can take accountability in your life and start doing some good to yourself. Love yourself enough to do good. No reason to be cowered down and weak. Be strong enough to just get up again. Get up one more time. Be positive, be good, be healthy, be well. And most of all, be on an eternal track of life. Have a good day.